John, it would be very good fun for our viewers to hear some of the offline conversations that we engage in. It's always funny and entertaining. Good to see you here on Friday night, John. How you doing?
All right, I'm playing with my gamma.
Yep.
Usually we do
No,
this
you look good
before the
there.
show.
You look good there.
All right. All right.
We got a lot to discuss today. I think people are generally aware that the president of stupid was in like Madrid or something yesterday, chomping on the floor chimes, just like, yeah, we're going to stay in Ukraine until we defeat Russia. I mean, it doesn't seem like stuff that Putin would back down from, but that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. You, John, have been for literally years now, you've become as identified with investigating COVID-19 anomalies as you have with the Las Vegas shooting. What are we going to be talking about tonight?
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I was, because it's just sort of the way I am, I enjoy being a one-trick pony. So when I was specializing in the Vegas investigation, that degree of focus is something that I enjoy. And it's something that I enjoyed in my professional career. And being able to look at one particular tragedy and not get distracted by all of the other tragedies that continued to happen over the course of the years is one of the reasons why we've had the results that we've had in these investigations.
Yeah. I prefer to think of it as specialization, not a one-trick pony. That's obviously a pejorative
circus term
that we don't. Yeah.
Well, but
now,
I grew up in the circus. You got to understand. I grew up, Atlantic City, circus performers, right? I was a professional magician at 10 years old. So to me, a one-trick pony is that's good. Especially if there's a real pony. Yeah, if there's a real pony involved, now we're talking.
You joking now?
Right? No. What, are you kidding?
I didn't
I
know
grew
that
up
you had anything to do with the circus.
Well, I grew up around Atlantic City. I was doing magic at 10 years old. I was a performing kid, right?
Wow.
One step away from those, those little pageantry kids. I was doing magic at 10 years old.
You put you in makeup in a big Texas wig. But you know what? People are aware of, and we're watching this press conference with Joe Biden. He literally said, Russia, Russia, Russia. Prices are higher because of Russia. And also people are talking about this aide who made some comment about the liberal world order being at stake. This all plays into what we're going to be talking about today. I want to make sure people know, John, that they can watch our subscriber-only sponsor-exclusive segment. Just after this, they're going to be able to join us on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. It's a great time for people to sponsor the show because it's the first of the month. Happy July. And people are going to get a lot of bang for their buck watching tonight. People can watch the simulcast of this YouTube broadcast, of course, on the John E. Hoover channel. Thank you to the 72 people who are watching us over there. If you're not yet subscribed to John E. Hoover, get on there. It's free. I would also recommend that people who are watching on John E. Hoover can subscribe to Crowdsource the Truth. 7, you can subscribe to Crowdsource the Truth. 8, there are these individual co-host channels for all of the Crowdsource the Truth co-hosts. We've got a simulcast going right now on the John Cullen Investigates channel. What are we going to be looking at tonight, John?
Well, there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of consternation about misinformation.
Yeah.
It started a couple weeks ago with Barack Obama giving a commencement speech at Stanford and talking about how dangerous it was. And then a week later, we saw the formation of this misinformation board that was supposed to be spearheaded by this young lady who I think was about my daughter's age. And,
33.
Right, and the idea was that they were going to determine what was misinformation, what wasn't, and be sort of an arbiter of what is true, what is not. And one of the challenges that I've had is I use authoritative sources exclusively. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, not familiar with my work, I was one of the guys at Oracle that helped put together this ESRI mapping system, which is the de facto standard for geographic information systems. And it was Jack Dangerman and I in that first meeting with our teams. So I had a couple people, he had a couple people, and we put this thing together. So the idea is, as I'm going to these authoritative sources,
Wait,
they
wow,
don't.
I
They
thought
don't
this was like
jive.
a movie guy, Jack Dangerman. Oh,
Yeah,
Danger Mom.
yeah.
He could be a superhero. Or a spy.
From a again, when we first went out to meet with him, and he was in the first meeting, and then he left it to everybody. He kind of walks out of the meeting and leaves it to the team. But he
But
kicks it
Danger
off
is supposed to be the middle name.
Danger. Exactly. Well, what was that? That was Huma Abedin's husband? What's his name? Carlos Danger, right?
Yeah,
Carlos
exactly.
Danger? Was that Huma Abedin's husband, or was that Mitt Romney? I forget. I can't keep track of all these lunatics.
The other thing I was thinking is, in an effort to counter misinformation, maybe you should change your name to Mr. Information.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
So that's the nature of the show, is we're going to be looking at conflicting information from authoritative sources.
Right.
And so then the question is, okay, well, now what do we do? Right now, we've explored this notion in the past. I'll give you guys a sort of a basic example that you can pull up and show everybody right now in real time. The WHO recommends against the use of remdesivir. All right, so live without a net, Jason can search for that. The WHO recommends against the use of remdesivir. And you see, boom, like within a matter of seconds
on their own webpage.
Right. So I've been doing a series, or I was doing a series before I was put in the penalty box, which is, it's appropriate because we're in hockey season, right? Stanley Cup and all that. So I was in the penalty box for a little bit, but the series I was doing was called In Plain Sight. And I was showing people how to access this information. It's right there. In other words, you don't have to have some special credentials to see these things.
You're not a doctor.
But you don't, right. So you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to be an epidemiologist to go show everybody the type. No, go back to the page with the WHO, with the WHO said. Go back to the top of the page. You just had it there a minute ago.
No, I know. I was just going on to the next thing. Here we go. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So hang on for a second. This is in plain sight. You're on the WHO's website. This is the World Health Organization. And they say, we recommend, am I hallucinating, or does that say WHO recommends against the use of remdesivir in COVID-19 patients, right?
Well,
right?
It's first base. Who recommends against it? That's what they're asking.
Am I hallucinating in what I'm reading here? Now, this was published November of 2020, right? And so I think even Tedros right now is wondering.
Looks a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. He's like, I think Cullen has pinned me to the wall here. But the point is, in the United States, for a long time, this was the only FDA-approved therapeutic treatment was remdesivir. And so the challenge was, well, is it or isn't it? By the WHO's determination, they don't recommend it, and the FDA was. So what we're going to look at tonight is data, more quantitative examples of where the WHO and Johns Hopkins and Worldometers and WorldLifeExpectancy.com, none of them have the same numbers for the same thing, right? So we're going to explore that a little bit, and that's kind of exciting to me.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
And it's
fun with numbers.
The kind of thing that if we talk about it on YouTube, you don't even know what you might say that could get you shut down. So we'll be getting into that part of the conversation on subscribestar.com and patreon.com. /I am John Cullen and /crowdsource the truth. People can also watch these simulcasts on rumble.com. People are having some difficulty finding Crowdsource the Truth on Rumble. You gotta search for CS the Truth. It's rumble.com/user/CS the Truth. I'm pretty sure. But if you just go on there and search for CS the Truth, you'll get it. Same thing with Odyssey. They're making it difficult, you know. I think it's almost deliberate, John. Certain people don't want this information getting out. They got maybe a squad of goons. Welcome to the 10 people watching us on Rumble. Thank you for doing that.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if the audience appreciates sort of the one-man band thing that you are. Not just producing the show and hosting the show at the same time, and doing all the research, this fly-by-wire research at the same time. But this ability, I want to explain to the audience, give me 10 seconds. We're simulcasting on Crowdsource 7, Crowdsource 8, John Cullen Investigates, John E. Hoover, on Odyssey, on Rumble, on, I mean, are you on Getter?
Getter. Yep.
And Getter. I mean, who's doing this?
Not too many other people.
Not too many other people are doing this. And again, this simulcasting across channels, it's remarkable to me. You've got to be, one of 10 guys in the world that knows how to do this. And so tip of the hat to you that you pull this off. Anybody in the audience that wants to nominate Jason for a Webby Award for a Webby for the one man band trophy. I think that trophy looks like this. In fact, I keep these trophies handy.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to the 189 people who are watching on Getter. Thank you, everyone. I don't know if I ever told you this, John, but it was, I think it's in a public transcript. It's whatever. We'll talk about it. You know, when the Emmys lawsuit first came about, there was a moment where we were kind of negotiating a potential settlement with a magistrate. And did I tell you this? That first I said, well, I'll just go away. You guys pay me $500,000. And they said, that's absurd. We're not going to do that. And I said, how about you give me an Emmy? And the judge said, no, we're not doing that. I was like, that statue's got to cost like $12. So
that's too funny.
Yeah, but they didn't want to give it to me.
Why don't we show these guys just a couple slides before we got to go over to the patron only show. I want to show the YouTube audience a little bit of what's going on here. Let me open up my set.
You are the maps daddy. Now, what is this, Koh Samui?
Yeah, so this is a shot from this is the W Hotel in Koh Samui. And the reason I put this in for tonight's show is Thailand, as of today, has lifted their vaccine restrictions. So if you want to get away and do, some work remote type thing, you can go here, and all you have to do is either show evidence of a test within 72 hours of flying or take a test upon arrival. And that's it.
Oh, you still need the test.
Still need the test, but you don't have to be vaccinated. And they had some sort of a quarantine period. All that stuff is over. So it's the only thing. Yeah. So if you don't mind getting tested, and for some people, getting tested in the States is one thing. Getting tested in Thailand, you arrive at the airport, they just want to know that you don't have it.
Exclusively anal swab in Thailand.
Fabulous. Very accurate. Very accurate. All right. Yeah. So for those of you who are not following me yet on Twitter, it's almost enough of a reason to join Twitter to just see the disaster. I'm kind of like a bull in the 7-Eleven. Like, imagine a water buffalo in your local CVS or Walgreens that weighs a couple 1,000 pounds. It just keeps banging into stuff, and that's what I keep doing on Twitter. So I've been engaging with people like the former Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Jerome Adams. I'm engaging with all of the top COVID doctors that you guys know. Dr. Judy Mikovits is on here. Mikovits is in here. So very, very active. And the point is that you can engage big name people on Twitter. And because the stuff that I have is very visual, I have a lot of charts and stuff like that. People look at it and go, well, yeah, that's kind of compelling. So if you're not on Twitter, check it out. Follow me at @I_am_John Cullen. And you'll see that a lot of what I've been working on during the week goes into that, because I can engage big name people.
Yeah.
And see
now, John,
if we can make something happen.
Were kicked off of Twitter a while ago, but then you rejoined sort of end of 2021. You've got a good number of followers on there in just under a year. It's interesting because, there's a lot of people are wondering where Elon Musk is. He hasn't tweeted anything in something like 10 days. I was noticing it after 2 days because he's normally tweeting several times per day, which is difficult to believe given that he's launching rockets to space and driving cars electrically and all this kind of stuff. But now there's been a lot of speculation as to where Elon Musk may have gone. We know he's trying to suss out the bot problem on Twitter. I think it's not limited to Twitter. I've spoken a bit about the Donald Trump-owned social media network, Truth Social. I really think that fraudulent accounts, it's a problem that plagues all of social media. Crowdsource the Truth is not the most popular alternative news source, but it's kind of up there. I mean, wherever I go in the country, people stop me in supermarkets and airports. They tend to notice me, and even if they don't know me, they say, hey, crowdsource and stuff like that. Only 60 people on Donald Trump's social media network have followed Crowdsource the Truth since 2022, despite the fact that there's a lot of interesting exclusive content. My phone call with Robert David Steele, my visit to the courthouse for Ghislaine Maxwell's sentencing hearing, the lost episode of Charles Ortel is closing. And I mean, this is the type of stuff that fans of Donald Trump who are logging on to Truth Social would probably want to look at. I'm very confused that only 60 people have followed since February of this year. I start a new YouTube channel. It gets 1,000 followers in almost no time. You might be aware that the lawyer who represented Robert David Steele in his lawsuit against me also represents Devin Nunes in his lawsuits against fake Twitter cows. Stephen Biss has blocked me on Truth Social because I was asking him questions like, how the hell is an unknown, incompetent attorney getting 2.4 thousand followers in the same amount of time?
Let me break this down for the audience. So for people who haven't been following this, let me kind of give you guys the explanation here. All right, Truth Social is the let's just call it a Twitter alternative with Donald Trump behind it and Devin Nunes running it for Donald Trump. Devin Nunes's lawyer is this guy named Stephen Biss. All right, so the attorney for the guy who runs Truth Social has blocked Jason and has been fighting Jason. And then Jason has 60 followers. Well, then you've got 60 followers on Truth Social. You had 120,000 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, on Getter, which is like Getter? What do the kids call it? Ghetto, right? What's Getter's nickname?
Do they? I like Getter.
I don't know. Okay, so Getter. Well, you've got way more. Look how many people you got on Getter. You got way more. And
we've got hundreds of people watching the video right now on Getter, and it's actually,
why would that
650? So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think I would go to like 10,000, but that sounds a little bit more authentic to me. 650.
Getter's getting off the ground.
It's less well known than Truth Social. But that's again, I don't think I'm some kind of superstar, but it's just a fact that people are watching Crowdsource the Truth. It's very anomalous that Truth Social has such a low following for Crowdsource the Truth. And then there was something going on where there's this SPAC that's buying it and everything. And there's some questions with that.
You don't want me to show the audience any slides at all?
I do, but I just want to tell you that Bill says Judy Mikovits is part of the Reawaken America tour. So that's something that Dr. Judy should be careful of. Yeah, let's do another slide.
All right. China has broken through 21,000 deaths.
Whoa, it's really rising now. It
is. And again, for the longest time, it was less than 5,000, right? There was this big period where nobody was dying in China. And everybody kept saying, China's lying, China's lying, China's lying. Well, now China says, no, we got people dying. So now they're up to, now last week, this was 20,200 something. So they've had almost 1,000 people die in a week in China. So I was looking at last week's presentation, and the delta's almost, it's like 800 for the week. So there's more, and you're not going to see this anywhere. Nobody's reporting how many people have died from COVID in China. Now, the challenge is you don't see the same. This is from the WHO. We're looking at the World Health Organization's website right now. But you don't see the same thing when we go to Johns Hopkins. And that's the problem, right? We don't see the same thing when we go to other places. And that's what we're going to explore when we go to our patron-only show on Patreon and Subscribestar.
Somebody just asked me, John, on Facebook, why don't I throw the audience a bone and do a show every now and then that doesn't go to the subscriber portion of the show? Do you know how many shows I do that are totally free every week?
Well,
I just can't believe that somebody would ask me that. It's like, Phil, why don't you come over to my place and clean up or do whatever you do for a living for free? And
typically,
I'm insulted that somebody
audience.
would ask that after so many shows have been done totally for free. Right down at the courthouse, it was like 80 degrees just earlier this week. That is just such an ungrateful request. I've just blocked Phil. So have a happy 4th of July. One quick other thing.
Phil.
People are saying they can't find me on Truth. It's at CS The Truth.
Find what?
They can't locate me on Truth Social. But if people search for at CS The Truth and tell Stephen Biss, he's obviously got a lot of bot accounts following him.
There you go. There you go.
So we still have 2 minutes here, John. Why don't we give people, including Phil, a taste of what people will be seeing when they tune in on the sponsor exclusive show?
All
Not
right.
this?
I would say let's go past this. Yeah, skip past this one.
Where would we like to go?
This is interesting. This was where we were in March of 2020. And this is something that I posted as a comment to a WHO video where Dr. Tedros was giving an update on the pandemic. And I was looking at the map. And so I replied in YouTube in the comment section, and this comment is still there. And this is this is why you have to take these baselines. This is called baselining. And this was very early in March of 2020. And this was the part I just didn't understand. I wasn't questioning the WHO. I wasn't challenging the WHO. I just didn't understand because I'm not an epidemiologist, right? So as a lay person, the part I didn't understand was if this many people are dead in these big places, these places that have a lot of people, confused. I'm confused. That's it. That's all I can say here. Right. And so that's the answer to the guy who didn't understand why can't we do more show here? And it's because
people also don't seem to understand how this is working. Someone's telling me you can't complain about people banning you and then ban people, which, by the way, I can. But primarily, I don't control YouTube. It would be a little bit hypocritical for me to create, like if I was as famous as Donald Trump and created JTube and then started doing exactly what YouTube does, then that's hypocritical. But Crowdsource the Truth is a very, very small thing. YouTube is the city. Crowdsource the Truth is a restaurant. If you like this restaurant, I'm happy to have you join us. But if you're rude to me or the lead chef or any of the other customers, you're getting kicked out and you're going to have to go to another restaurant. Now, if I was in charge of every restaurant in New York City and wouldn't allow other people to open restaurants, that would be unfair. This is different. But anyway, John, we're out of time here. And people who appreciate what we do and aren't interested in insulting me in the live stream or making ridiculous comments can become sponsors and help the show carry on. John and I do this for a living. So if you want it to continue, the best way to make sure that that happens is to become a sponsor on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, or subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We're going to have a lot of fun joking around. John and I have a great friendship. We've been working together for several years. We know each other's style, so we're ribbing each other. We're joking around a lot, and people seem to enjoy it. Become a sponsor. Enjoy the show. Join us over there. A lot of good information coming up in less than 4 minutes. Thanks to all the sponsors that make it possible. We'll see you